Hello and welcome to Speech Action Studio. This is the second episode in a series of podcasts for anyone who is active or curious about the performing arts. Today's conversation is with a woman who's dedicated her career to empowering communities through theatre and the performing arts, helping local people take to the stage themselves, share their experiences and build something uniquely their own. Liz Gardner, founder and artistic director of Fablevision Theatre Company, joins me in a discussion about the arts in the community, past, present, and into the future. Hello, Liz. Lovely to see you
It's really great to see you here.
after
It really is.
after years and years. Explain to our viewers that I auditioned for Liz's theatre company at the time back in the early 90s, I think it was. You were auditioning for a play called A Scottish Reservation, and I think the play had been done before by Birds of Paradise, but you completely rewrote it. There was an idea or a concept.
No, it hadn't been done before.
Ah.
It was a collaboration with a Métis group in Canada.
Yeah.
Métis being half Indian, half Gaelic.
Yeah.
Mixed race but saw themselves very much as Native Americans.
Yeah.
And we tried to tell the story of that Highland clearances and going to Manitoba and being welcomed by the Indigenous population there. And then, what happened next, which was, it's very sad that, especially when you see what's happening in the US just now. Anyway, there we are. That was then.
That was then, and that was a tour, and we went out all over the Highlands and Islands, and the west coast of Scotland.
I started life at Glasgow University in the theatre, film, and TV studies course there, and then discovered Strathclyde Theatre Group and spent most of the rest of my university career with Strathclyde and the amazing Hugo Gifford. And what he provided and what Strathclyde Theatre Group always provided, even after Hugo, he kind of set the benchmark, but it was opportunity. Yeah. Opportunity for people to try out acting in different ways, to try out directing, to try out backstage lighting. Everybody had their own talent to bring, and he was a master at allowing people to develop, and he would spot where you were heading and where you needed support, and he would put
I
that
wish
in.
I'd met him. I really do.
And I'm sure Susan, I had moved on by the time Susan was in post, but I think it was the same kind of ethos.
It was great. If you showed enthusiasm, it was Susan and Sylvia Jameson who ran that place single-handed, double-handed, and they did almost everything to encourage people. They encouraged people. Anybody that walked through the door was met with, "Hello, are you interested in this? Well, you can come in and do this. You can see this. You can take part in that." I did the classes, the art of acting and art of directing classes at Strathclyde for years. We always had full classes because Sylvia would grab people off the street. "Are you interested in this? You can sign up for that. You can get a discount. You can get subs towards the fees for it," and would sort everything out. And before they knew it, they'd signed up to a class, and it was just terrific. It's that old philosophy, I think, Liz, of arts for all, which way back when I just got involved at the very tail end of the 70s, 1979, where I worked at an arts centre. And the philosophy was to get art, not necessarily to become a big famous actor or a movie star or anything, but because of the quality, to improve the quality of life for the citizen, anybody, especially as folk traditions were sort of dying. You would have had someone at a pub playing the piano, people dancing, folk musicians, people who were working hard would create their own entertainment. now the entertainment is really made for them, and they're missing out on not actually participating.
And it's the power that's unleashed when people are able to create and be part of something like that. I came in at the sort of tail end of the Easterhouse Festival Society. I don't know whether you remember.
Again,
that.
before my time, yeah.
And
I say my time, it's not our age difference or anything, because there isn't really one. It's before my time of moving
there
to...
was a bit of a age difference.
moving to Scotland as I came up here in just the late 80s.
But that's another legendary happening in Scottish community arts history is, both Easterhouse and Craigmillar Festival Society. Craigmillar was happening over in the east, but it was the days before social media, so we didn't really know much about each other.
Yeah.
We did actually, Easterhouse visited Craigmillar and got inspiration and brought it back to Easterhouse. And that was a whole process of empowerment of local people. And then
the arts
they
are
get
something,
confidence in themselves to manage their own place, rather than being recipients of largesse or, bits of crumbs off the table for activities. Suddenly they get, actually, we can do this ourselves. We're better at this ourselves. We can create our place the way we want it to be. And the Easterhouse Festival Society had huge plans for taking over the Wills factory, which actually happened eventually.
Yeah.
And all sorts of initiatives to really transform Easterhouse. But the problem was it was a threat to the sort of community education, the local authority, the politicians who like to be thanked for little supplications of crumbs off the table. So they basically it was the rug was pulled. And
I've noticed that even lately, that arts venues were shut down one after another, and for spurious reasons. I think the Arches was because, my goodness me, some drugs were found inside a nightclub. Shock horror. As if that never happens anywhere.
Strathclyde University did not see the value of Strathclyde Theatre Group, did not see the value of the Collins Gallery. Those were two amazing initiatives within the university, which were renowned. I mean, they were what Strathclyde was known for, really. Nobody really knew about their science or their, but they did know about Strathclyde Theatre Group, and they did know about the Collins Gallery. And yet, they've both been closed.
I remember my heart sinking at that time, and we're talking about, it's in the last 10 years, really, they've started to tighten the screw. And it was just a rather horrible feeling, because, I mean, it was like a house of cards collapsing. And I spoke to friends of mine who are deeply involved in politics. They really couldn't have cared. They really could not have cared at all. And it really wasn't their problem or anybody's problem. And they were slightly, they got excited, I think, during the tail end of the 90s when they discovered that if you have arts venues, printers, art galleries and things, it brings money into an area. Now, that was interesting to them. But I think in the time of deep recession, not really interested in the arts at all. It's a terrible, I didn't mean this to get political, but inevitably it has to, doesn't it? But yeah, there are signs now. I'm hopefully going to see, there's a group called, I think, Theatre 118. And now, I hadn't heard of them either. A friend of mine's doing a show called the Red Lions, and they got together a group of actors. They'd all studied at Langside, and they were going to do something themselves. And they were trying to find rehearsal rooms. And there's a company called 118, I think, if I've got that right. And they do things like scratch theatre, which is theatre which you've got 12 hours to get it from nothing to performance. And
Sounds exciting.
yeah, not for me. I don't think. I like to be prepared. But yeah, I mean, they've got this whole office place. It's near Shelter. There's the Shelter building. It's over in Merchant City sort of area, and it's an office space. It's wide open spaces. They've divided it up. People go there, rehearse. There's free rehearsal space. They do evenings with like scratch performances, plus poetry, plus this. They can seat at the moment about 70 people. It's getting bigger, and it's that sort of initiative which can spark things off. So it is true that there's other groups as well in Glasgow who are doing things. The Short Attention Span Theatre Company, and you just wish it had a little bit like a place, a theatre, real facility. So you could, if you wish to, move on professionally through these, or you just take what you can take from it and give what you can to it, which is just as valuable.
And these are the places, these are the seed beds of the future generations of artists and performers. And
you can see the ones that come through and are dedicated to doing this as their life's work, and to make a living.
Like Strathclyde Theatre Group. So many people who came through Strathclyde Theatre Group went on to...
I see them on telly a lot.
Yeah. Various...
When I was unemployed as an
not
actor.
Not just actors, but in all sorts of cultural initiatives.
Yeah.
So that is so important, so important. Yeah. So,
well, I think, I mean, that's... I know I was thinking when... I'm so happy you agreed to come here, but I thought we could talk for hours about lots of things quite specifically, but I'm glad we covered that. What I'd like to say is, like, what are you doing now? What are you doing now? Because I know you've had projects in various communities and things all over the place. So what are your plans for now and the future?
I think what you put your finger on that, Arts for All and the power, and I got that very early on, and I suppose realised that there was something very powerful about being in a community and working there with local people to put on a show or whatever it was, and so most of my energies went into that. The theatre and education, funnily enough, that the idea of that was to have an income stream, so that those kinds of initiatives in communities, nobody will fund those. So those had to be funded somehow out of.
I never actually thought of theatre and education as being an income stream
No,
before,
well,
because I thought
wasn't.
you had to fight. You had to fight for that.
It wasn't.
Yeah.
We thought it might be, and it was a really powerful strand of work, because suddenly it was going into schools and being in contact with young people, and it was.
We toured. I mean, I was just one of many people that were out touring with you at that time. But I did hundreds of shows.
It was wonderful.
Hundreds, all over the place.
But it didn't make any money.
No.
But what I've realised is that nothing does. There's no point in trying to use the art as a way of generating income, because it just well, maybe some people manage it, but certainly we didn't, because we were too invested in the outcomes and making it wonderful and seeing the results, and so gradually moving into more residency based work was where I went with Fablevision, and then went to a conference in Europe called Banlieue d'Europe, and discovered there are people all over Europe doing this stuff. I hadn't realised that. I thought we were kind of in a vacuum here, discovering things that nobody else had discovered. Went to this conference and discovered there's people all over Europe doing this.
Wow.
So from there, I started more interlocal work. So trying to, because what I found was if like the Métis, if you're bringing experiences from elsewhere into your community, it's really powerful because you're learning, you're sharing, you're discovering that there are similar problems and issues in other parts of the world, and that's really powerful.
Yeah.
So that's the direction of travel that I've been going in since, oh gosh, when was that? It must have been around about 2000.
Yeah.
And since then, really focusing on that kind of interlocal project with artists embedded in communities here, taking it over to communities in Europe. The current one is called Turning the Tide. It's about artists impacting on the narrative around climate change,
Right.
and working with Stockholm and Gdansk and Athens and five other countries and cities.
Well, that sounds amazing.
Really powerful. Yeah.
Right, well, Liz, because before the batteries die and the cameras, that's been a really fascinating. I just wanted to let the conversation go where it wanted to go, and I'm glad it went where it did. So it's been a great joy, and thank you ever so much for coming along, and best of luck with everything you're doing in the future.
Thanks, Ian, and let's keep in touch now.
Yes, we will. I'm around these days again.
Great.
Thanks, Liz.
Thanks.
Well, thanks for watching. I hope this conversation has shown how powerful it can be when people are given the chance to create their own stories and celebrate their communities. If you enjoyed this episode, please don't forget to like and subscribe and share it with someone who believes in the power of creativity. I hope to see you again in the next episode of Speech Action Studio.